But yeah, with that, I'd like to welcome our next two presenters for our final talk before we break for lunch, Catherine Melillo and Ryan Osman.
Hi, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Ryan Osman. I'm the Water Resources Specialist at WaterFirst. And this is my colleague, Catherine. She's a School Engagement Coordinator. And today our presentation is a bit less technical than most of the great presentations we got today, but what we wanted to talk and got invited to talk about is more about the water stewardship component of what all our agencies here do. And again, really focusing on the importance for agencies like us to connect with youth and also help keep increasing spaces like this one that are great to be even more inclusive than they are right now. You know, just keep working on that. So today we're just going to talk a bit about how our organization WaterFirst looks at connecting with Indigenous youth across Canada. So one of the important things for us as an organization at WaterFirst is addressing one of the biggest challenges that exists in Canada today is that there's a lack of sustainable access to safe, clean water in a lot of Indigenous communities, and that's still a reality today. And the way that WaterFirst as a charity operates is trying to work on addressing those challenges through meaningful partnerships with our Indigenous counterparts and their communities, Indigenous governments. And the way we do that is by addressing those local water challenges through education, training, and meaningful collaboration. That's kind of the essence of what we do. And in terms of how we do that, which is quite key, is that we place a lot of emphasis on building a relationship with the communities or the organizations we work with based on respect, on trust building, meaningful relationships, and creating lasting results. And again, it's all about creating a lot of, how do I say that, a meaningful partnership is what I mean. And so, again, engaging with Indigenous youth, but also guardians or Indigenous conservation agencies is at the heart of what we do. And creating those partnerships is key. So again, a lot of our work is guided not just by people at WaterFirst, it's guided through those partnerships with Indigenous staff that we have or our Indigenous board members. We also have our Indigenous Advisory Council, or we also consult a lot with actual council and Indigenous knowledge keepers in the various communities we work with. So again, as I've mentioned, we try to take a very relationship-first approach to all we do. And in practice, what that means is that we place a lot of emphasis on engagement before you even start a project. And again, that implies really focusing on having meaningful conversation, taking the time to understand what's being asked, and establishing real trust with those communities so we can understand the local goals and priorities. Doing science for the sake of science is not really worth it if it doesn't, in the end, help and contribute to helping your community. So again, what we do is try to offer expertise, ideas, and support, and the community guides the work that we do and lets us know how we can actually support. We don't come in with the idea of telling what we do and how to do it. So again, we try to provide training to meet community needs. So far to date, WaterFirst has collaborated with 80 Indigenous communities across Canada, more focused on British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Labrador, and Alberta. Right? Yeah. And across the country, we've worked on 170 water science education and training projects. Just wanted to share a quick quote from one of our partners, trying to kind of give a bit of tell a bit more about how we place a lot of the importance of placing on that relationship building, the importance of trust. That is that they've never really had that many interactions with other organizations where helping the community is based on their own terms. And again, establishing a relationship that's based on their own terms we found is key to success in our work. So some of the programming that we offer at Water First, and we'll dive more into that in a little bit, but are our school water programs, which Catherine will expand a bit more on after to talk about how we specifically engage with Indigenous youth. We also have the environmental water program that focuses more on community partnership and internship opportunities that aims to support independent stewardship of water and fisheries management. And we also have a drinking water internship program that focuses on getting members of a community their water operator licenses so that they can actually work at the water treatment plant without outsourcing those services to seven companies. Again, our framework of how we work is we try to blend the programs together because, again, in small communities, you could wear more than one hat. So blending those programs and listening to what community wants and having more of a hybrid model kind of works in our favor. And so a lot of our programs blend into another. They work together and, again, try to meet the needs of our community partners. Yeah. So one of the key things also that we have to acknowledge when working with Indigenous communities is how to create a space where we can weave Indigenous knowledge with the work that we're actually doing that's more Western science focused and more water science focused. So again, what we do is try to find avenues on how to weave Indigenous knowledge in the work that we do. And so the way we do that is a lot of times by providing a customized approach to each specific program and community, building that nation-to-nation relationship. And we make sure to link the topics back to what learners already know. A lot of the participants that we have are involved in our program and are given the opportunity to actually get out on the land. That's the best way is by having a hands-on approach to water science. Helps a lot in the success and helps them to connect with water, but also connect with some of the Indigenous values that they have. We also do value a lot creating a safe space for knowledge holders to come in and have their own sessions to talk and teach and share a bit more about the expertise hosting ceremonies with community, and also share with participants their own knowledge and experiences. So again, just another quote from one of our participants who was more focused on the drinking water program. He actually became the operator at his community. And again, a lot of importance related to being able to provide safe drinking water to his community and how that's a very rewarding and helps build capacity at his community level, but helps the community flourish, which is essential. Just to give a quick overview, I won't really dive in the technicalities because we're more focused on the water stewardship side of things here and connecting with youth, but our environmental water program, just to give you an overview, focuses on skills training to meet community's vision. So what that implies is looking at community-based water projects, so projects addressing water quality, winter science, fisheries, population assessments, and contaminant studies, but while doing those, really involving community and members of the community to learn how to work through those things together. Again, a lot of the groups we work with are Lands and Resources Department, Guardians, and more. And we're currently working on developing an environmental water internship to help young graduates from high school kind of discover careers in the environmental in the water science field, so they can then decide if they want to pursue further studies and come back to the communities after to keep carrying on some of that work. Like I mentioned, we also have a drinking water program, which is more focused on training young, qualified personnel to operate water treatment plants in the communities. Through that program, participants are able to get their operator in training certification, the entry-level course, small water systems, water quality analyst, and the level 1 water operator license. Throughout the internship, they're able to gain a lot of experience and actually can transition them through their placement to become operators at their local water treatment plant. And again, those are just some summary numbers of some of the drinking water internship programs we've run. I believe we've done five of them with 46 graduates and about 171 certifications achieved by those water operators now who are in the field.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine. I'm an engagement coordinator with the schools department. We partnered with OGS last summer, and we'll get more into the high school credit program that we did with them last year in 2 communities in Ontario. I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of the schools program, the different units that we offer, a little bit about our goals, and then dive more into our high school credit, again, that we did last summer. So here's some of our overall numbers of the last year. We've engaged with 1.7 thousand students. We do week-long programs, so we're not necessarily giving any certifications other than our high school credit, which we've done 33 of. But we have kind of a more reign as out of all the departments to travel to many more communities and do a week-long water science workshop with a core group. We did 35 programs last year. Our team is a mighty team of 4, so we try to engage with as many as we can, but again, focusing on building relationships. So we're not too much focused on our numbers. We are trying to build relationship and revisit communities and continue that spark, hopefully, in the water sciences with the youth of the community. This is a quote from one of the drinking water interns, actually, who ended up helping and supporting us on our programs. She really loved being able to connect her internship knowledge and training with the youth of the community. And so here's just a little quote of her time that she had with our schools team. So one of the units we offer is called Full Circle. This is focusing more on drinking water systems. We have a couple lessons in this unit called, one of them is called Drinking Water Advisories, just focusing again with sensitivities on the advisories that either the community might be facing or just a general knowledge of what these advisories mean when they are put out by the Government of Canada. We have an HPC lab looking at source water, why it is that water is treated nowadays, what is living in our water that would potentially be harmful to us. So we get a little sample from a water source where they would be getting their drinking water, and then we put it in an incubator, and after 24 to 48 hours, we look and see what has grown. We do functioning filters, which again is focusing on the drinking water process, on the filtration process. We do a water treatment plant tour. Hopefully, if there is an intern in that community, we would have them lead the tour just to kind of build that connection between the internship and the youth of the community. And then our last one is Nothing to Waste. I'll let you imagine what that one's about, but it's about our wastewater treatment. The kids have a lot of fun with that one. We talk about different flushables, how they're, typically it's a lagoon system. We talk about how the lagoon works and why it's also important in the treatment process. Another one of our units is What's in Your Water. This is a more general one. We have our Water Rangers kits there, provided by Water Rangers. They have a lot of great educational equipment that we use. We look at dissolved oxygen, we measure TDS, conductivity, and turbidity, and we look at, we usually do this on the last day, so we're connecting all the lessons we've done throughout the week. We take them out on the land to connect to their water specifically, and how these numbers tell a story to us. So what do these numbers mean? And again, hopefully sparking an interest in eventually working in environmental stewardship. We have Working Watersheds. Watershed Mysteries is looking at, we create little samples from different areas in the community, and we try and get them to guess based on the numbers where that sample came from. So looking at either the rock of the area, the soil, was it a roadside ditch, where the numbers spiked for the salinity, and kind of getting them to create a data set and then choose where they think each sample came from. They actually do really well in this. It is kind of a tricky lesson if they don't have any background in water science, which usually in schools they don't. And yeah, they're really impressive when it comes to that lesson. We have pollution solutions, looking at what happens when water is polluted. And then water quality analysis is the photo there. So just taking a sample from land and finding out what those numbers are telling us. Our newest unit that we've been play testing throughout the last year is focusing on aquatic habitats and streams and how they affect our own well-being and health. We have a extreme science. They're looking at riparian zones, how destruction of riparian zones is affecting their water quality. We look at spawning shoals. Building biodiversity is a lesson focusing on beavers as a keystone species. And then we also take them out to a wetland to kind of connect to that building biodiversity lesson and focusing on the water quality there and the essential importance wetlands play in their water quality. And our main focus today is talking about our summer reach ahead program. So we've run this 3 years in a row now. Last year was our biggest year. We worked with Sheshagwaning First Nation, which is pictured here, Beausoleil First Nation, as well as Nawash Saugeen Nation. All of them a little bit up north for Southern Ontario, but I worked in Sheshagwaning, and the photo there is Darla and Shirley from OGS. They came for a day to talk about the topography and the rocks in the area and how they can affect the water quality of the area. We did grade 9 geography as well as grade 11 environmental science, just based on the numbers of the community. The youth population is quite small. It is a small community, so we were able to offer both credits and kind of simultaneously do them at the same time. So OGS did a really cool lesson with us looking at fossils, which really got the students excited. If you have worked with high school students, it is really difficult to tell when they are excited about something, but this is one time where we got through to them. As you can see here, this student here, for example, on the left, was pretty quiet until this lesson, so we were really grateful that they came and they talked about fossils with us. We were looking at topography, different geological features of the land. We were on Manitoulin Island. If you're unfamiliar with Sheshagwaning First Nation, it is in the northwest side. So we really wanted to focus on getting this geography or environmental science credit through on the land learning. We tried to limit the amount of time in the class. We brought in a lot of community knowledge, a lot of community guest speakers, as well as OGS, who were able to share their expertise in whichever section of the curriculum we were trying to connect to. So here's some of our photos working with Darla from OGS. We took a soil sample. We looked at how the soil is going to affect their water in the community, how it affects the resources in the community, what's growing. They also did a soil or sand sample from the beach in Beausoleil, looking at microplastics and how they may be increasing on the shores of their community and how that's going to affect their fish population as well as their own health and well-being. This was taken in Misery Bay Park, so we looked at the rare alvar of the area, how that affects the also rare species that live in the area of plants. This is Odawa Fish Farm, so that's actually in community. It's their own fish farm. We had a community elder who came for most of our programming and again connected the community knowledge. So he was raised in Sheshagwaning First Nation, and he shared how he's seen changes in the land, the fish population, how he's noticed changes in the water, and again was able to make those cultural connections. So he opened our day every day with a smudge. And he was also able to provide any assistance for students who needed some guidance in what they wanted to do as a career or whether or not they wanted to stay in the community to work, for example, at the fish farm or any of the opportunities that were already there. For environmental stewardship, so we did 2 major projects throughout the summer. The first one on the left is a few students taking environmental survey. So we chose 3 different locations as potential sites for, as an example, they were looking for a new area to put a garbage dump. And so we looked at surveys and how the plants, animals, any traditional areas of the area would be affected by a decision such as this. How would these features affect the water quality for surface runoff, looking at soil. And then on the right, kind of connects to the same project. We chose a few different locations in their community on the shore and took water samples again with those Water Rangers kits, and just comparing the data to see how different features of the land are going to affect the water. One example is an area where they had their boat launch, so we looked at the different ways that our parameters were affected by constant traffic of people and boats coming in and out, and how that may affect also the wildlife that we were seeing in the area. For community cultural connections, Joe LaFord was the elder that we had with us there, and he, not a great angle there, but he was building a sweat lodge with us. And again, just a lot of these students might not have actually grown up in the community. Some of them actually had parents who did, and they came just for this geography credit. So it was really nice that he was able to connect with them and give his cultural knowledge. And so we had a sweat lodge built there, and then this is in Beausoleil. I'm not sure the gentleman's name, but he shared his knowledge on the fish species of the area. They filleted the fish together with him. And again, just talking about how things have changed and hopefully getting students interested in environmental science to some capacity. Our overall goal is to increase Indigenous representation in water governance and water sciences. And that's kind of our goal as a schools department, is to kind of get the ball rolling and kind of open up pathways, potential career pathways for those students to start thinking about in the future. And that's our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. If you have anything you'd like to share with us, if you have any ideas of lessons, I'd be happy to connect with you sometime today. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
So with the involvement of getting knowledge keepers with the traditional environmental knowledge aspect of your programming, what type of record keeping are you keeping, just let's say for future generations, so that that knowledge continues to be transferred forward?
In terms of knowledge shared by knowledge keepers, the community itself actually has their own methods of storage. Some of them includes audio recordings or transcriptions. As an organization that's external to the community, we have a data sharing agreement or mutual agreement that prohibits us from holding their data, or that in very valuable data. So we're here to create the space for them to share it, but we don't us ourselves hold that data, but the community will host and record all that data so that they can keep passing it on to future generations. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.